All right, my friends, here we are. Oh, button your shirt, Kraai. You can do better than this. You can do better than this. Turn on the light. There we go. All right. So, time for the graduate show. It's a pretty mellow week with the graduates. Sometimes we have like 50 people. This week we don't have so much. So we have the ability to mellow it out a little bit and take our time. We did the under 1,000 yesterday. And today we're going to do the over 1,000. We stopped with Figgy there. And so we're going to go from short can all the way up to Phoenix. And I think, if I remember right, we got about 10 or so people today. Okay, so pretty cool. If you don't know what this is the Dojo Training Program graduate show. Dojo Training Program, if you don't know what it is, check it out. ChessDojo.club is the way to find it easily enough. We're going to start off with NA 14. Boom. And NA has already graduated one time. They could say something about themselves. Say something about yourself, Bows. Now, actually, could graduate again. I understand. If you only got 1 point, you might say to yourself, oh, Bows, I'm not ready yet. Hasn't done the tactics test. You need to do the tactics test, son. Okay. So I'm going to put that on my to-do list here. The to-do list is long, Bows. Bows, where are you putting all your things? The to-do list is long. Tactics test added to tactics rating. Okay, cool. Let's see how they did it. We're going to go down one. They haven't been adding their time. I don't know what's going on with NA, but NA does have one game. I'm pretty sure, though, that we looked at this game last time. Let's see. Well, let's take a look. Maybe I haven't looked at this. At least I didn't mark it as reviewed. Okay. Weird. Yeah, and this is terrible, right? Good move. Fine. I think we did look at this. I'm just going a little fast because I feel like we've seen this thing before. Okay. So I'm just going to say, let's just take it easy. First thing we're going to say is the NA's opponent is moving way too fast. Look at this. Oh, my Lord. So they're playing with an increment here. So 30 plus 20. And we see this all the time. So just because we made it past 1,000 doesn't mean the disease is cured, right? His opponent thought for a little bit here. And then maybe the game's decided by move 29. I don't know. But anyways, White has played some dubious moves already. And, maybe you would think about it a little bit more. Okay, this 94, I want to say at a GM level, we wouldn't like this move because now D5 gives good play to White. So CD first is probably better, but your opponent doesn't see that. You snip. Okay. Knight G5, superficial, good move. G3, superficial. Now, one of the things I want to stress is when you play at this level, what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of moves like this. So Knight G5, one move threat, moving a developed piece twice. G3, just trying to play for Bishop F4, right? Cheap. And the thing to realize about it is that you're going to get it a lot. You're going to get this kind of chump coming at you all the time. And it'll change once you start maybe playing longer games or better opponents, right? But you're going to get a lot of this, and so learning how to deal with it is a key skill. Good move. I like that one. Look at that. That's simple and strong. Bishop F4. And now you should definitely consider ye old Queen C6. And this is the kind of thing that we will have whenever our opponents are, not developing, moving too fast. I don't know if there's any rush to take that thing. There you go. I like that you did that. Now, here you gave up on the annotations, right? No, you gave up on the annotations. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now you definitely need to develop your pieces, bows. So no bishop c6. Play bishop e7. Get ready to castle, son. Get out of there. Get out of there. Yeah, some people aren't castling, but you are winning all this stuff. There you go. There you go. Okay, we can stop here. And if you played a little faster from here on out, you have the fine excuse that you are fully winning. So, good game. You could do a little deeper annotations. I think, N.A., that when I look at your profile, what I'm seeing is you probably aren't like engaging with the program that much, right? You are like kind of in and out, probably not doing too much. And, you're doing some things, but it's been a while, for example, that you have been doing this. So we want you back. And this next one, by the way, you're already 1301. But, the progress from here will probably be difficult. Okay. Work is cut out. Boom. Next up, we have, I don't know how to pronounce their name. We're going to call Semela. Nordovich is in Vegas. Yeah, Kostya too. Oh, by the way, we're going to check in with Kostya to see if that game starts. I'm going to guess it starts at 12 their time. So maybe in a couple hours. But if you guys look for me, that would be cool. So we're developing a bunch of badges. The only badge right now that we got is people from Dojo 1.0. This training program started on a spreadsheet, my friends, and it has evolved into the beauty that you see before you. Okay, Semela needs to do his Polgar mates and the other test so we get a sense of Semela's tactics. Really crushing with the rating, though. Look at that. Look at that. Really well done. And let's go back one. So it did 64 hours, 46. And what do they do in non-dojo? They're doing some tactics, non-dojo tactics. Okay. So, but otherwise, pretty good distribution. Be nice for them to read a book or something like that too, as part of the program. Let's see what Semela's got. Now I might have already looked at this one because, by the way, the last two people they're not doing enough games. Have I done this? Well, let's see. I don't know if I marked the other one as reviewed either. Okay, this looks like an OTB game, and the great news is we thought and our opponent did not. And I think I'm going to do a video today, called The 3 Things You Need to Cross 1,000. It was just on my mind. Obviously, these people have already crossed 1,000, 1,000 being the Dojo Universal rating. I don't know what that is. It's like 3 million Lee chess and 1,400, maybe 1,200 ChessCom. Anyways, one of the things there that I'm going to talk about, the 3 things, is using your time wisely. And you can see here that so many players are just playing poorly because they can't think, and especially if they're online. Like this guy here, he's not thinking at all. And I think one of the cool things about being part of the dojo is, especially if you're going to be on this grad show someday, you're going to cover around. You're going to be like, oh, Christ's going to yell at me. And Hubskirt, that was a great idea about the Polgar mate badge, and I believe that is in the works. Yep. Oh, I got myself a delicious coffee going on today. All right, so we marked it as reviewed. There's there. FIDE rated game OTB in the local league. So my layout is a little bit wrong, isn't it? Because you can't quite see everything. All right, Kraai, we are going to fix it. We're going to fix it here. How are we going to do this? Okay, you got to make it smaller and then taller. I think that's what we need to do. Small. Oh, shoot. So. Oh, don't be a jerk. Smaller. And then taller. Wait, that wasn't it. Did you do that? Did you do that wrong? I think you did that wrong. Oh, okay, wait. Do it again. Smaller. And then baller. There you go, buddy. See, this isn't that hard. And I want you to actually give a little... No. You make it a little smaller again, son. Just get it right. We'll get it all in there. So that's the limit over there. Voop. And then we want the full limit over here, or close enough, close enough. And then I can make this. That's no good. Oh, shoot. Don't be mean. Don't be mean. That's unnecessary. See, so that's the problem. That's the problem. How come? Any case, I think that's what we're working with right there. That is what we're working with. But make it bigger this way now. There you go, mouse. There you go. It would be nice if I could get the whole thing in there. Don't think I can. That's okay. All right. So back to the front. OTB game. So far, so good. He says this is the critical moment. Bishop h5. Bam! And he says, this is the theory I've studied. Well, holy moly, Batman. That's some good theory, man. That's some good theory. Okay. You're teaching me something. You're teaching me something. Now, it's weird to call this theory because Black's play doesn't really make that much, theoretical sense as it is anyway. But you are learning an interesting trick. And I think one of the things about openings is sometimes you can learn tactics. Like here, there's this really cool tactic that you're pulling off here with Queen b5. Excellent. Yeah. And this is the end of the line, which I have played until the end. I've never studied or found this position before, but I know that white is better. Yeah, well, you're up a pawn, and you're up development. So bishop e7, d3, fine. Bishop d5, I would have preferred castling, but there's nothing really wrong with what you did. Good. And now we don't like this move. The reason we don't like it is because the bishop on e7 right now, he's kind of a chump. He ain't doing that much. So when you take it, you activate the bishop, right? So let's talk about plans for a second, just to start thinking about your chess progress for a second. So you played this amazing opening thing, and now there's a couple things that you need to see about the position. Your knight is poor because the knight is being blocked by these pawns. So already in the back of our minds, we need to be thinking about how to fix that thing. Taking is poor because both of these pieces aren't great. They simply aren't great pieces. So we need to just move the bishop somewhere first. And we could think about bishop h4, bishop f4, bishop e3, bishop d2. All of those are better than taking the knight. A very frisky move could be f4, but then you have to maybe calculate queen b6 and queen b2, stuff like that. In any case, taking is wrong. Now, what we're going to want to see for your future chess development is you find a way to fix that knight. Let's see how it goes. Rook e1. Somehow I feel this is a low-level move because it does not much and risks potential attacks. But I thought there were chances of the e-file to get open. I wanted to improve the position of my pieces. Okay. So the first thing we have to say is black is kind of close to equality. He's not there yet. He's not there yet because you have an extra pawn. And so your opponent said d4, absolutely, great move. And the main thing to see about this move is that you're cutting the bishop, right? You're cutting the bishop. And that's what center pawns are good for. That's why Nimzovich said, hey, center pawns are better. To win a center pawn is a bigger deal than to win other kinds of pawns. Yeah. Okay. So d4. Good. By the way, one of the great things about the dojo, people doing postmortems, fantastic. Okay, so rook fe1, b5. This does not look right to me. So the thing I want us to see here about this move b5 is that black, first of all, is freaking out. And what black needs to understand is that the knight is poor. Okay? The knight is poor, and we have chances to survive this position. But the second you play b5 and we take here, I'm sure it's going to get complicated. I don't doubt that. But what I can see is the knight is either going to have to get taken or allowed to come to d5. Therefore, white's problem piece is now done. It's a solved problem now after all the complications that happened. So we say thank you very much. We say thank you very much. And now what black was drawn to was this very, very fancy thing. But we are up multiple pawns, and we are doing great. Yeah, we're doing great. So, is it a little complicated? Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's complicated. I'm not doubting that. Let's go. Boom, 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 and now he comes at you. Okay. So, you played rook b1. In principle, that is absolutely correct. So that you have queen c2, rook b5. For sure. Now, let's talk about the position a second. These positions are hard for grandmasters to play to because there's a lot of moving parts, and it's not super easy to, see all the complications. But let's say a couple things. You are up 2 pawns, first of all, and this is a very important extra tempo. Black owes you a tempo at some point, g6, h6, something, right? Plus it's your move. So you're up in time and pawns, so it should be winning. All right, rook b1, great, g6, and now you take. Okay, I think this is okay. Boom. He comes and takes this pawn. Now, they could have also taken this pawn, but the danger with that pawn would be, the danger of what he wants for this pawn is at some point he might get a perpetual check if your queen ever moves away. So we have, as long as we hold this diagonal, I don't think black has any meaningful counterplay. So you played rook b8, and you said, I thought that with the connected pawns I could get a promotion. I don't know why I thought of like a job promotion there, but that was the first thing my mind went to. Okay. So, I believe you are going to be winning this thing, but it is going to be getting really hot. Notice that the move, a simple way to play the position would be rook c5 and rook c7. And black is just out of luck because there ain't no counterplay. We hold this pawn down, there ain't no counterplay. All right, so rook b8, you force this trade, and now you play c4. And you said, I don't realize how weak the pawn at d3 is and the strong response of my opponent. I'm setting this as a blunder because if I had played the right move here, I would have had an easy win. Okay, one thing now. Now we're in the queen endgame. Queen endgames are notoriously difficult. However, I have great advice. I have great advice. In the queen endgame, two things you need to understand. One, that the power of the passed pawn is even more powerful than it normally is. And why is that? Because it's so hard for the queen is the worst blockader ever. Like if you imagine you got a pawn here and the queen is here and you just put a big fat queen there, hopeless, hopeless, nothing to do. Okay, the next thing is, in general, you also want to centralize the queen. The beginning of the game, the queen does not want to come out. But later, we want to put it on one of these central squares. So when you talk about protecting the key square, you should also just be saying to yourself, oh, right, like Kraai says, I should put it in the middle of the board. All right, so queen d4, c4, he does this one. And you play a4. Okay. You are still really in charge of this position here. I would say the easiest move here for you would be to play queen g3. Boss, you're up so many pawns. You're up so many pawns, buddy. And then if he goes after this one, we're going to start. That's the one we want to push, by the way. That's the one. If he goes after that pawn, we're going to push that one. So this is a little weird. All right, now it's getting hot. Queen e5. c5. Okay, in the correct spirit of things. Queen d7 doesn't look right because it does allow you this queen d6 move. All right. By the way, you are using time and your opponent is not. This one we want to look. You spent 3 minutes on it and good. I believe in you here. Takes. It's funny, your opponent is very generous with his time in the postmortem. Imagine you could talk to him, Semerla, and you could be like, hey, Baus, you needed to use your time. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you input the times incorrectly. This looks winning to me. Boom, boom, boom. EF6, King F6. All right, so you did some calculations here. And this D7 thing is winning. H4 looks winning too. Wait a second. Yeah, it should also be winning. Good move. Oh, do I understand this? This can get kind of hectic. So one of the things, maybe we did blow it here. Maybe we did blow it. So GH5, and the guy plays King D6. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is required. Why? We're going to talk about it in a little bit. But let's talk about it now. So boom, boom. There's this whole rule of thumb about it. And let's just analyze it. I believe I kind of understand this. Wait a second. Let's just get this right. Yeah, so we gotta go here, here, here. King F8, boom, G, pop, 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 pop. So you can see why we want the pawn. Bam! Okay. Now imagine, Black made it, man. Black made it. I'm supposed to know this by heart. There's like a whole rule of thumb. And the point is, though, if you imagine your pawn were on A5, this would be winning because you would be snipping this pawn, and now he wouldn't have time. So instead of King B6, your move would be King B7, and then you wouldn't get got. Okay. So let's get into this and look at this. So I said that h4 was winning. I might be wrong. So definitely d7 looks logo. This is forced. Yeah, this has got to be lost too. Yeah, boom. Boom. And I think, well, yeah, you could do a lot of things. That is the simplest. That's the simplest, yeah. Okay, so does h4 win, or have we blown it? h6. Okay. Now, let me try to do something for you here. So, a5. King e... No, this isn't going to work, Kraai. This isn't, I don't know if this is going to work, buddy. Because see, king e6, he's going to come back. He's going to be in time. See? And he saves his soul. So, g4, king e6. You talk about g5. That's a hell of a drug. Okay, good. Good, dude. I like this. This is what we're talking about. So does h5 blow it? This is the main thing I was interested in before I went down any other things. So I talked about a5, king d6, king f5. Here, dude must play a5, and we get that variation. See? Here we get this variation, and he can't get got. Because as we saw, you're going to reach c8 before he can control b7. Is it easy to see in advance? No. But once you see that your position is substantially stronger with a5, which you understand here, right? Then we're in control. And then h6, he might have not even understood why this move was so important. Right? Woo! Yeah. Holy moly. Ghost, I don't understand what you mean. White can capture a5 first and it's winning. If we get to this position with a5, it's not winning. Well, this one is even worse with h6. But here, a5, now we're winning. Let's just look at his variations here. Well, king f6, we definitely want to play a6. That's the easy one, because now king f7, h6, right? King f6, king g8, king, and we... Did we slay him? I don't know, Kraai. I don't know if you slayed him. I think you blew it, buddy. Hold on. This thing's hot, dude. This thing's hot. Wait a second. Jeez. Okay, time out. I thought I was being a genius. h6, king f7, a6. Okay, right. So now it goes this way. Here. Yeah. This is the way it should be easily winning. There we go. And what you can see here is that even if the pawn were here, we would still be winning because we have this square. But if we took here, we're not winning because we only have this one, and then he's got us. Yeah. So great instructive ending. One of the things that's hilarious is in the Dvoretsky book, I know there's this fancy rule about it. And it's like a math rule. You add up, oh man, because you add up like the distance away, because you could calculate a similar thing if it were G pawns. And then you got to figure it out, and oh my God. Yeah. So what we can say is your opening theory is 2900. And then you have some issues with positional play, right after that. But those are all things that can be fixed, and I really like your time graph here. That was really good. Okay, so, Kraai, did you mark it as reviewed? You did. Great, Semerla. And now we got Anders O, also has been here before. Let's read. I graduate for the second time, just a few weeks to get to the suggested cohort according to my rating. I have decided to trust the program's rating limits and graduate as soon as I reach the rating for graduation, even though I feel I have a lot of things to learn in the lower cohorts. Really like the way the program is structured. To annotate the games after playing them has given me another dimension to chess, and I really feel that I learn a lot from that. It is just as interesting to analyze the game as playing them. Correct. To have a structured training program has really helped me a lot. There's so much chess content out there, and it helps a lot to get suggestions on what to study at my level. I have not yet done much sparring with other members of my cohort. I am looking forward to doing that in this cohort. Okay, let's take a look. So this is Anders in Stockholm. 1436, all right. And it's got this is the FIDE boost. And dude needs to do his Polgar test, and I'm assuming also the new tactics test that we released, I don't know, 2 days ago or something like that. Okay, so we got clubs, European and Stockholm. Let's go. Who is Stockholm? Let's see this. Cool Master X. Oh man, look at this Stockholm dojo. All right, activity. And we're going to be looking for 13, 14. So 33 hours, 49 points of work, a lot of endgame. Good. And now we're going to look at the games. Some people don't log. I can tell, like, Anders didn't log all of his stuff because, like, he didn't log his endgames, for example. In terms of didn't log all of his time. Okay, so we are going to get an over-the-board game. Something I want to stress is that what we see is as we progress, we see more and more players using over-the-board, and the lower the rateds are playing more online. Over-the-board is easier to concentrate. It's easier to take your time. You generally, you won't be distracted. All kinds of stuff. And your opponent won't be distracted. When we look at the online games, what we so often see is players who are not taking their time. They're distracted, Okay, so, boom. Stockholm Championship. All right, let's mark it as reviewed. Let's look at the times. Well done in putting the times in. Looks like a reasonable time graph. Let's take a look. Okay. Right. My opponent was clearly out of book here since he spent 25 minutes on this move. And there you see it there. Boom. I think bishop b6 is the most common move. Okay. So, knight c6, bishop c3. I saw this move, but I was not that worried for my double pawns. I get the bishop pair and have slightly better development. Okay, correct. And one of the things I'll say about it too is notice that when you take here, regardless of how they recapture, a pawn will be here, and that'll like restrict your knight. So the knight he's kind of like your worst piece at that point. So you got to say, oh, thank you. Okay, goes to this endgame. Boom, boom, f3. I love this move. Maybe castles is better, but I love this move, f3, and I think you're doing fantastic. Yeah, f3 dominates this knight. You have this beautiful unopposed bishop, and it's not clear yet where your king wants to go. I like this a lot. So b6, slow. Bishop e6 looks more of a thing. Now, one of the things that's interesting here is the argument against bishop c4 would be, hey, we've got these two bishops. Do we really want to trade one off? And black is going to kind of have to do that after bishop c4. So I can imagine people being of two minds about this. I think it would be really cool not to trade it off, okay? And to start using your kingside majority soon with g4, g5, h4, h5. I know that might look highfalutin, but that's where we're strongest. And I just kind of want to keep the bishop on board. This is a highfalutin talk you're giving, Kraai. The guy should play bishop e6 here. Good move. And now he gifts you a pawn. And you got to say thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for the pawn. And one of the cool things just to see about this beautiful pawn is that it has increased the scope of your bishop by getting rid of the dark square pawn. Now, one fascinating question is, how long will it take black to understand that they need to fix the knight? If they understand that this knight is poor, they will play knight h5 immediately. And it's for that reason that I think bishop f4 is a little bit better, because we do not want to give that knight any squares. On bishop g3, knight h5, you go bishop f2. At least the guy's talking to you. Still, I think you're doing pretty good, honestly. But, you know, I don't even want him talking to us. I don't want him talking to us, you know. Okay, rook c d8. Okay. Good. Okay, now he figures it out. Rook d1. Check. Takes. And this looks like a blunder. Rook takes d1. So you do a variation where you say that you're winning after rook h8. I don't believe it. I would say that you have a clear advantage after rook h8. You're up a pawn. Congratulations, you're up a pawn. But it's still going to be a lot of work to win this, and your pawns are doubled over there. And that's why I didn't really like, you saw that dynamic with knight h5. I didn't want him to trade our beautiful, beautiful bishop. I wanted to dominate that knight. In fact, if we go back just for a second, what we can say here is you really have two advantages in this position. One is that your minor piece is better, and two, you have a pawn. So here we have to be wary of the knight ever getting out, right? And there's a couple ways to deal with it. One is to say, well, if he goes knight h5 now, and there's no check, maybe he's not going anywhere. I'll just pop him. So to that, we might say a4. Make him think about a5. Then another way would be h4, saying that's my side of the board. And if he comes here, then I'll just say your knight's dominated, buddy. You're going nowhere. And when I'm ready, I'll hit you with g4. Notice how these pawns are kind of nicely covering all these squares here. Okay, in any case, rook d1, and we're going to see how long they thought on rook d1. Just 3 minutes. So, oh, excuse me, I want to see the other rook d1. I want to see this one. So how long did they think here? Oh, instantly. Instantly. So here's the thing, my friends. The pawn endgame is the hardest thing to calculate. And I think this one is especially difficult to calculate. We as white should believe that we're winning. And usually with the extra pawn, we're winning. You have some double pawns, though, my friend, so maybe black has a chance at drawing this. What I do know is after, say, rook h8 or something, black is just clearly worse. It's not over. With this, though, he probably is concretely lost. And black shouldn't do it unless they're just got overwhelming confidence here. Okay? Kind of helping us. Right? I don't know what black should do, by the way. I don't know. I don't know what black should do. If I was black here, I would be thinking for a half an hour. I guarantee you. Half an hour. Because it's too hectic right here. It's just way too hectic. By the way, you are a little guilty of moving too fast here too, as I see. G5 or C5. Yeah, I agree with you that H5 looks more testing. So on H5, King D4, I think the question is there some way for you to force black to move any of those pawns? You can't easily move your pawns. It's hot. Let me just say. So king f6 is by no means forced here. There's g6, there's g5, there's a5. All of these moves are a thought for black. So c5, this looks wrong. g4 looks correct. King e5. I think king g5 is more interesting, but yeah, I don't know. The problem is you're going to play, after g3, you're going to play king e4 and over. c4, good move. Good move. And now he should just be toast here. Now, f5, my friend. No, we got to be extra careful here with f5. So that loses, obviously. What would happen, though, on g5? This is what I mean about pawn endgames being tricky. Now, I think we can run him out of moves, but I'm not 100%. Let's just see. So we're going to run him out of moves, so he has to, if he gives us this square, then we win. g3. Yeah, we're going to run him out of moves. a6, a4, and we got him. Okay, good. So king e7, king e5, good move. Boom. This is controversial, gf5, or king f5. Yeah, that's controversial. gf5, that mama said, get them past pounds. Get them past pounds. Good enough. Good enough. Okay, now it should be easy. All right, well done. So, oof, that was hot. That was a good game. Good annotation, Anders. And one of the things I want you guys to see is the quality, the improvement of quality in the annotations and thought. Okay, annotations for a higher cohort, but also thought for an OTB game. Okay. Philo says, the Twitch app alerts me when you're live, but the last several times it says Dojo talks the top 10 next year. Is that a glitch? Yeah, there's a glitch. We have to, I know what it is. So you have to go manually into Twitch and change it. So that's the problem. We're streaming now both to YouTube and to Twitch, which that's why it's sometimes, it used to be a little easier. So that's our bad. Okay, let's continue. We got Ollie Doodle. Ollie Doodle continuing to make progress over here. Why am I not following Ollie Doodle? So 1545, looking great. Using the USCF, I highly approve. Progress will come slower because there's less games to be played, right? But when it comes, it will be very real. We need that Polgar test. Oh, and now, see, so now when you're over 1,500, we've had the tactics tests available for them for quite some time. And Ollie Doodle needs some work over here with this the Polgar mate tests and the tactics tests. Okay, so clubs, activity. We'll go down one. 131 hours in this one. A lot of work being done by Ollie Doodle. Ollie Doodle, tell us something about yourself, buddy. Tell us. So, macros look great. Let's see what they're doing middle games and strategy. Red Simple Chess. Beautiful. That is a great book. Great for where you are. Endgame. Great. Oh, he won REP match number 1. How about that, buddy? Now we're working. Now we're doing some work. Ollie Doodle, you're doing the work, buddy. It's paying off, too. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. He's crushing it. Okay. Now we're going to look at some games. Moodla says, did I have my graduation skipped? I don't know. We can go take a look. But I never skip somebody's graduation. These are older games. Maybe I've already looked at these. I don't know. These are ancient games. Ancient. So Ollie Doodle, buddy, you need to bring in some new games. I don't know what's going on here. So let's look at the clock, maybe? Nothing. Let's see. Ollie Doodle is doing the work, but he's not putting in his games. Well done. Well done. By the way, really well played. And now we take on G6. I just want to stress that bishop G5 is also an option here. You take, and here the weird thing is, after FG, I think black is, well, it's an interesting position. He should definitely play FG. So this is a notable mistake. With FG, this is a typical French player and Caro player's trick. Black opens the rook, and the key thing is, one of the key things besides opening the rook is now you're not going to get mated. After HG6, you might get mated. Okay, let's see how white plays. Simple and strong. A little controversial. This move seemed weird as it locks down the center. White doesn't really have a need to take back, as that would allow black to fix its structure. Okay. I agree in spirit with this move. Now black needs to find a way to do something with that bishop on C8. That doesn't do it. Rook C1. Okay, so here you need a plan. And I think I think it's already over. And the winning plan is knight G5. Oh, wait. Yeah, now we have to be a little careful because we don't want knight E5 to happen and our knight to be hanging. So then we ask, but he's got to defend queen this one, right? So queen E7, queen F3. Let's say they take. Now I don't want to recapture because my knight's hanging, but I got this bad boy. And the game's over. And that is typical of when they got these double pawns. It's absolutely helpless. Well, we're crushing this person, right? Over Grover. Now you could say to yourself, Kraai, well, why don't you take here? Fine. But now our key point is protected and we're still cruising and bruising. We're still cruising and bruising. Okay. So, here's a missed opportunity. You can still play knight G5. So I think this is a great example of just needing to see the mate threat, right? So once you see the pattern, your mind will say, oh, knight G5. Now you see it. Okay. And you talk about knight C6. Okay. Now, does this save him? You're saying queen H3. He's got knight F7. Okay, but I don't believe this. No. Queen H7. None of these lines seem to lead anywhere for white. It looks like black is able to hold the defense. Hold on. Hold on. We got knight E6 here, friend. We got all kinds of things here. So let's slow it down for a second here. We got knight E6, and on bishop C7, maybe the guy could survive with knight G5, right? We also have queen G6. Well, it looks also amazing, also stunning. So everything's winning here. Everything's winning. Yeah. You talk about king F8, and then let's see if you have multiple moves here. It looks like you're just looking at queen G6. So let's look first at queen G6. Queen C8. This is a winning position. You got to trust this one. H4, H5 would be a move. What are you? Knight E6. That isn't it. So do you look at a different one? And I think it's a little defeatist. You're saying after knight e5, there is no way to avoid the exchanges and simplification of the position. Well, now knight c6, I agree, was simpler. But look, you're crushing him. And then furthermore, we have to also look, how do we feel about knight e6? That looks forced. And now we have two choices. Knight e6 and the simpler bishop takes c7. Also looks winning. You're killing this person. You know, it's a full welcome to the dojo. Yeah, not so pleasant. Oh, yeah, this is evil. This is evil. Let's say they come here. Oh, we come around the mountain. Hello. Hello, you remember me? Remember me? Okay. Actually, we have to be a little careful, Kraai. But in any case, that also looks winning. So then this happens. And your position, by the way, you definitely still have full compensation because his bishop is poor and you control the blockade squares. So now this looks superficial. And I think a clear plan here would be to put the knight on the key blockade square. So imagine knight f3, and if queen f6, you know, we'll probably play queen d6. We can think about other moves too. And then next move, or soon enough, we're going to play knight e5. Yeah, it's still very dangerous for him. And nota bene, let's say queen e7. We got more than one move, but one simple plan is here, here, and we play for mate again. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. So you're still doing great. I'm a French player. I know about the pain here. I know about the pain. Knight f3, good move. Rook a7. Now, again, I think we should at least analyze knight g5. It will not be pleasant for him. This is the positional move, okay. g5, frisky. Rook e2. Okay. Frisky. So if you want to regain the pawn, you could play knight d7, queen b8. You went back. Knight d4. You're doing great. Look at your control of the dark squares. Now, e5 black should have sealed up the center. That would be a hell of a move, which, if true, means that we've really kind of blown it because we got rook e5 and f4. Yeah. And if that's true, then we blew it. So hold on. Let's go back here for a second. You're doing great in this position. Your opponent's pushed it a little too far. Knight d7, clearly better because you are clearly better because your king position is so much stronger. You have other moves, though, to mess with him, such as f4. So he's getting a little lucky here with g4. And now this e5 thing. And the other bummer is it looks like maybe f4 is also playable because f4, queen g4, e5. He blows it. You say check to the miserable king. You mess with him pretty good. And we start taking things. Good move. a3. I don't know if I get it. Thank you very much. Good. I like that move. Oh, very frisky. Oh, very crispy critters. So then it just turned into a yard sale. Okay. So, Ollie, buddy, you're doing great, but what I don't understand. These games are from forever ago. They're from forever ago, bud. We need more games. You're clearly doing the program. So, yeah, we want to see more. All right, we got a question about Moodla. Now, Moodla, you might be graduating next week. Let's look. Are you over here, bud? No. So we'll go back. Is there a Moodla? Moodla, you were yesterday. Oh, no, Kraai. Moodla, you're right, buddy. You're right. When you're right, you're right. I somehow missed Moodla, and let's just look. I think I missed Moodla, dude. I think I missed Moodla. So Moodla, I'm sorry, Bows. You know, Chump GM over here can make some mistakes. So let's take a look, Moodla. Sorry about that, buddy. Thank you for reminding me. I don't know what happened. Moodla's Dojo 1.0, my friends. Look at that. So the first thing we want to say is Moodla. Cool that you're doing the USCF. Of course, it would be cool to see this higher. Do the new tactics test. Do the Polgar mate test. We'll get a sense of where you are. Clubs. No clubs. Go do a club, Moodla. Tell us something about you. Say, I'm from Boise. Or something like that. I don't know. I'm from Boise. I don't know why I said Boise. So, 1 to 1100 and 67 hours of work. That looks pretty good. Yeah? What's the non-dojo? Okay. Some rapid. All right. So, I like this distribution a lot. Let's see if we get a game here. We got loads of games. That's only 6 moves, so I'm not going to pick that one. Let's do Penrose because Penrose is in the program. So market is reviewed. We'll look at the time. Uh-oh. There it is, Moodla. Now, unless you're completely winning by move 23, we have an accusation on our hands, Moodla. An accusation. Do I remember correctly, Moodla, that in terms of time that you have been a repeat offender, a recurrent criminal when it comes to the usage of time? I have that in my memory, Moodla. Maybe you can tell me if that's true. Fine moves. Fine. This one's a little weird. Okay. At the very minimum, we need to say some stuff about this. What's the natural move? Castles. Castles is the natural move. Here, after Queen A4, well, we've just lost a tempo, so that was no good. So we need to say something about that. Then dude plays D4, and yeah, because we lost a tempo, he's at least putting a little pressure on us. Now, knight takes C4 would be interesting, right? When this variation, pop, we have to investigate D5. Maybe he's got knight C5. You have knight C5, right? These are the questions that would need to be figured out. Okay, A6, I don't like it. What do I want you to do? I want you to castle. Oh, buddy. What do I want you to do? I want you to castle. I want you to castle, Moodla. And notice, Moodla, you're playing this super fast, buddy. Look at this. You got all the time in the world and you're going crazy. D5. Just castle. Queen D5. And you analyze bishop F6, queen C4, knight C4, and bishop F. Either way, you're going to lose a pawn, right? So, put a question mark next to D5. Also, Moodla, what it looks to me is not in addition to the time, or rather, what I see with the time and this move is a feeling as if you're nervous, right? You're nervous, so it's nervous anxiety that's propelling you to play D5. And castling, look at your position. You maybe white's a little bit better because they got the nice center pawn or something, but they're not actually doing anything. If they play D5, we'll just play knight B8, bring our knight back. You're fine. You're fine. right? Maybe we have a little less space. Here you're really pushing the limits. Your opponent doesn't think either. Actually, I take it back. Penrose thought. I'm sorry, Penrose. I'm sorry, Penrose. So, pop, pop, pop. And at least now you're not losing a pawn. Good move. I like that move a lot. He comes in. Now it's going to get a little spicy. I like castles, by the way, because you're not only developing your rook, but your king will be active from here. If we were talking to Penrose, we would maybe want to talk about rook e1 or something. That's fine. Knight d5. Good move. Yeah, and I think you're a little bit better in this endgame because your king is more active and your rook is more active. Rook fe1. And now let's call this our critical position, Moodla. How fast did you do it? So I think you had 30 seconds extra. And look at that, boss. You basically did it instantly. What is the problem with taking this knight? It might be a fine move, but you have to address knight f5 as the way for white to improve their position after you take. Then you ask yourself, well, what are the alternatives? Well, you have rook he8. You have g5. These are all interesting moves. And the case with g5 is to say, well, now this bishop isn't so great. The party might not end there, though, right? We will get knight b4. They should think about e6. Now we can consider both f6 and f5. You know, we're just starting this, but you can see where we're going. We're saying, hey, that's interesting. Rook c1, I block either with c6 or c5. And I got a little fiesta happening over here. Okay, this is now by no means an exhaustive analysis. I'm just trying to show you, Moodla, that for me, this would be the moment to spend 15 minutes, 10 minutes at least, you know, thinking about the possible plans. And now you're going to go for this, but that knight on f5 is going to maybe be a thing. Your opponent plays rook e2. Your opponent's thinking. I like that they're thinking. I don't understand that move. What is the move that white should play? Well, they should definitely first be thinking about making knight f5 happen. Their g3 move, okay. Knight c5. Bust, you're just moving so fast here. If he achieves knight f5, he's going to be better. Knight c5 and b4. I don't understand this move. But look, knight f5. Boom. So this whole thing that you initiated with bishop h4, the concern was, oh no. And so, you know, if you're going to take this, eventually you're going to need to play a move like g6 to stop the knight from coming in. Because here, knight f5, it looks like white's better, right? He's touching your coconuts. All right. And now, this is the only move, Moodla, where you're saying that you made a mistake with AB. And then, if you don't, you want to play a5, okay. You could leave it there, too. You could play g6. Play g6 here to stop the knight from coming in. Uh-oh. This is just moving too fast, Moodla. This is how we get ourselves into trouble. And this whole time, white's not seeing knight f5. They're not thinking about their knight. Good move. Finally they saw it. And the bad news is now that they finally saw it, we are in trouble. And here, I think it is definitely, well, he could play knight g7 to be fancy. Okay, but he makes it easy on himself. No, I think it's very muy importante to do it this way. Because see, the way he did it, he gives you an extra option of playing king d5 to get counterplay here. And we definitely need to think about this counterplay, because if you win this pawn, you have chances in the race, right? So this is an option that dude gave you, and then you played king e7 instantly, and now you're going to lose another pawn. You know, who knows? Okay. Bad move. We're just giving you a pawn. Is there a reason we don't take king takes f5? What are we doing? Why do we play king f5? Oh no. Now he holds his pawn. Yeah. We could talk about king g5 should be in. I'm spending more time here, Moodla, than you did, Baus. What are we doing, knight d7? What are we doing? There's a solid non-comprendo here for me. Definitely the guy should play rook takes b7. Check to the miserable. I don't comprende that. Look, they both have plenty of time. And here, for sure, knight d8 or knight a5. At least think about it. Well, Baus, we gotta go. We cannot allow the pawns to come at us. Yeah. Here you have chances at least to draw. Now in this one, we're going to get our coconuts are crunched. Why doesn't he play king h5? What? Moodla, buddy. So Moodla, look, let's just say the obvious. You're killing yourself. And it's this nervous anxiety, you know? It's a nervous anxiety. You are not the only one doing this. We see this all the time. Every graduation, I see somebody who has a time chart like yours. And I shamed you last time, and, you know, I have sympathy this time. Now I realize it's a chronic disease, dude. You know, it's chronic, and you are not the only one suffering from it. Okay. One thing, Moodla, I really encourage you to do, okay, is I really believe that if you spent more time analyzing, there's a lot of things that deserve analysis here. During the game, you would say to yourself, okay, wait a second. I'm going to be thinking about this later, and there's moments here that I got to discuss, right? And that practice will really help you stop moving so fast. Okay, Moodla, we're going to see you again. You're going to graduate again, no doubt. And what we then want is to see you slowing down, right? To see you slowing down. That's what we want to see. All right, here we go. Boom. Now, did I do shorthand? I feel like maybe I missed both of those. Let me just go over here. Did I do shorthand? Hold on. Maybe I didn't. I missed those two people right away or something. I got this tactics rating, games. Did I do this? I guess I didn't do it. So I'm sorry, shorthand. I blew this all over the place. Okay, so this is called the King's Indian attack. We're going to flip the board. Fine. Now, g6, I'm sure it's playable, but the reason It's not breaking the principles, is your bishop is already developed, has paths to develop here. So this is an unnecessary move. Okay. And now you talk about e5. Maybe. Rook b8, honestly, is a pretty standard idea in this position to play for b5, b4. So here, to follow up would be a6. e1, bishop a6. And now e5, correctamundo. Now c4. Your opponent, by the way, I feel understands their opening. Yeah, looks like they understand what's going on. So queen c7, h4. Yeah, they understand. They understand. So this is like, let's call this a standard template for black to follow here. Excuse me, white to follow. And he's coming for you on the king side. You, however, have got everything tied down on the queen side. Should be 7, knight f1. There's other moves. He could consider h5 as well. This is pretty standard, though. I love white's play, actually. I'm very happy. He's playing a standard King's Indian attack. And what I want you to see, okay, is that because you didn't achieve anything on the queen side, which is your side of the board, he now has free reign to mess with you on your side of the board. Let me give you a standard example just to give you a sense. So I feel like g6 probably playable, but you're losing the thread here. Just give you a standard variation here for you to think about. Just kind of cool and fun. Fischer had this a couple times as white. Right? And white can do several moves. Bishop f4 is the most normal. And this position has been reached loads of times. But you can see, in contrast to your game, black is going to start some junk on the queen side, their side of the board, while white does their business over to us. Is it incredibly hot? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You can look up Fischer-Miag, Missouri, 1967 or whatever it is, to see some heat from this position. Okay, so let's go back over here. Bishop h6. I just want to swap the bishop to give space for my knights and allow king g7. Okay. Yeah, you're definitely toast here, like strategically toast. Boom. We could do other things. In fact, in general, white should be saying to himself, oh, I want to bring my lady in to the black king. And so for that purpose, queen d2 makes a lot of sense. You could also take and then play queen d2. Okay. Okay. I don't get it. Talk about h5. Maybe h5. He finally brings the queen in. White wins. Well, don't resign yet, buddy. Don't resign yet. I mean, are you strategically lost? You are. But it's not time to resign yet, my man. No. Not yet time. I still have some work to do. Okay. So. Anyways, shortcan, I'm sorry that I missed this. One thing I want you to see there is, at your level, usually openings don't matter that much. But what your opponent showed is they maybe had a course or a book about the King's Indian attack. And you, by playing some unprincipled moves, okay, this is what I want to stress. Let's say, especially at this level, and you don't know, even at the GM level, honestly, you don't know the theory. If you play principled moves, you will be okay. So here's the first unprincipled move, g6. You're not toast here. Then I would say the next one is b6. because you're not understanding that you got to start some junk over here. So A6, B5, B4, light the fire. Okay. And then D4, C4, we're all locked up. We're all locked up. Yeah. And he's going to do his standard thing. He didn't need to be a genius. He just was like, okay. I saw that Fisher game. I saw that Fisher game. That's all I need to know. Okay, good. Let's move on. So, Anders, Ollie, the Mad Barber's up next. Mad Barber has graduated numerous times. I have been holding off graduation for a while since I feel a bit of imposter syndrome, climbing the cohorts with my lead chess rating and not an OTB one. What convinced me to do it was the score I averaged after taking the 6 tactics tests. Okay, cool. But next week I'm going to play in a classical OTB for the first time in 12 years. So soon I should be able to switch to an OTB to track progress. Apparently things changed from back then, and now you only need 5 games versus FIDE rated players to get the rating. So I hope to play only rated opponents in this tournament. Anyway, I've been in the dojo for more than 2 months. It's been great. I've been sparring with players in the cohort at least once a week, and all the material I've been going through has been really enjoyable, especially Simple Chess by Steen. My main source of improvement has been the increased understanding of the structures I get from my repertoire. I am very comfortable in almost all the lines I play and rarely feel lost. I also have to say that the confidence I have developed through the endgame sparrings has been crucial, and now I feel very confident going into any endgame. Beautiful. Okay, so let's take a look at the Mad Barber over here. So, beautiful progress going up, right, with the lead chess. And then this tactics rating, right, is confirming for them that they made it with 1706. Really cool, really cool. And so, if you don't know what we're talking about here, the dojo recently developed these tactics tests. Pretty soon we're coming with the endgame tests. And that should give everyone a sense of where they stand tactically. And of course, by doing the tests, you will be giving yourself a chance to practice tactics themselves, to practice the mates, to practice tactics. And then, of course, we have the Puzzle Rush and the Puzzle Rush Survival. And yeah, super cool. That really kind of in line here. They're in line with each other. He's in Italy. Okay. Cool, the Mad Barber. One cool thing about that barber thing is the red in the barber, the little swirling barber thing, is for blood, because the barbers used to do bloodletting back in the day. And so it's especially appropriate for a chess player to be doing some bloodletting. Okay, so, cool. All right. So here we go. Clubs, European, bring your own pizza, Italiano, activity. We're going to go back 15 to 16, 105 hours of work, very nice. Great macro distribution. Did some Steen over here, simple chess and spar. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So the Mad Barber is truly bringing it over here. Games. Now, we got a couple here. I'm drawn to the Tower of Solitude because I believe that is somebody in the program. So, Dojo Classical Tournament. I was correct. So, So maybe this was all theory, but why does it? Okay, we'll get our chance to yell at him, Kraai. You don't have to yell at him yet. So this looks like an hour plus 30 seconds. Peter, thank you for subscribing. Here we go. Fine chess so far. Fine. Bishop b2. First move where I'm out of prep. In the post-mortem, my opponent said he remembered that dc5 was the move here, but wasn't really sure, so he went for a safer approach. Now, one cool thing here is that as long as white plays principled moves, they're going to be okay. So bishop e2, castles is the main move here. It's definitely a frisky move. And what's cool about what you did is you understood that a6 was the move. Now, it's really cool that we talk about this now because in the previous game we saw that black didn't understand that they had to create some drama on their side of the board. Your pawns are pointing this way. His pawns are pointing this way. So white has two problems. You only have one. White has to consolidate this point and then find a way to play eventually against your king side. You just have one goal, and that is to create drama on the queen side before white both consolidates and then starts talking to your king. Okay. Fantastic. No, I like b5 a lot. dc5, probably incorrect, and you have a choice here. This change of structure favors black. The c file is a better semi-open file, and I have a clear plan with a minority attack on the queen side. Right. Now you say a3, bishop b7 would be a natural continuation, and I just want to say, this move a3 is a very highfalutin thing that's been developed really with computers, and it comes in a lot of these positions where white plays a3. It's highfalutin because, you're talking to this dark square, but the key thing for us French players to understand about it is with a3, white is hoping to win the battle of the dark squares, okay? And that will apply to the discussion on dc5. Now, I'm certain that you can take both ways, but what I want you to see is that when you play bishop c5, you will lose your dark square bishop, who is your best piece. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a terrible move, because you do have less space here, and so taking with the bishop will send one of your kids off to college, right? There'll be more room in the bathroom. And there will be a bigger fight for the d4 square. Okay, so you spent 3 minutes here. Seems like your first real think. Okay. I think I would be interested in knight c5. And what's interesting is you're afraid of f5. That looks way too early to me because we pop the knight, and then next move we take this guy, and we're fine. Notice that when we take that guy, the bishop is real. See? He becomes real once we take that thing. So this, I think what you should say is, I was afraid of f5. So whether we like and end up liking bishop c5 more than knight c5, it's still, we should not be worried about f5 here. Okay, so bishop c5, snip snap, a3. Good move, because if we achieve b4, that knight is poor. Queen b6, okay. King h1, it's getting interesting. Queen e3, maybe, fighting for the dark squares. Right, there's some questions, but let's leave them there. d4, dang. Very nice move. Very nice move. That wasn't it. Yeah, I love the move. Classic French. Not only are we driving the knight back, but this bishop is now a beast. b4, that's not going to solve their grief. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Queen takes. Yeah, it looks like we should be able to win the pawn. Okay. I don't know if I get it. Good move. Knight a5. Okay, b1 is a weird move because a4 really isn't a threat, right? You play a4, he's got bishop, you have b4. And our grief, I suppose, that on rook d7, he has knight e5. One interesting problem that you're facing in this conversion here is on f6, a4. If we can play complacently, that will fall. So while maybe I'm not super thrilled with knight a5, I'm not sure. I don't have an answer yet. Okay, so knight a5. You talk about a4. Good. These are great annotations, Barbara. Bishop d5. Nice move. That doesn't seem to do it. And you say, thank you very much. He collapses. Huh. Well, there it is, buddy. And I have to say, I was going to yell at you because of the time, but I'm not, because this is fine in a game 60 plus 30 or whatever it was for you to have this much time left, right? Absolutely fine. Okay. MG Weirdo says, let's go, graduates. Indeed. I want to just say, this is high quality analysis from the barber over here. Very nice quality analysis, right? I have very few complaints here about the moves, and I think he's looking at mostly the right things. Okay, so there it is. People are getting better, my friends. People are getting better. And look, Matt Barber, guy's only in the 1600, 1700 cohort. But he's working. He's working. And I think Matt Barber, he's going to be there pretty soon to the next level. All right, here's another one. Dick Chino. Let's see what's going on here. So Dick Chino, 1605. Congratulations. Has already graduated once before. We go down. Dick Chino's not been doing their tactics. Dick Chino also probably has not played an OTB game in years. You can see that in the USCF. All right, but it's focusing in on this rapid stuff. All right, clubs, no. Activity, uh-oh, we might not have any games. Nothing. So, I remember this vaguely. Dick Chino, bows. We need some games from you, buddy. We need some games. You need to be logging your business. You got to be logging your business. It looks like you jumped from, didn't even do a 15 to 1600. Yeah, Kostya won his first round. We're about to, at the end of this stream, I'm going to check in with Kostya. He might start at 2 Eastern. That's my guess. Maybe one of you guys could check to see if his game's already started. All right, we've got, oh, holy moly, we're not even close to done. Duncan says, hi, Jesse. I say, hi, Duncan. Let's see what's going on with Duncan. Give Duncan a follow. Duncan, 1750. Playing a lot, you can tell just by all this movement. Has not done the tactics stuff. Come on, son. Clubs, nothing. Activity, not logging it. Duncan's been around. You look at Dojo 1.0. So one thing I've definitely noticed is as we get higher, we get people not fully trusting the program, you know? And it hurts them. It hurts them. No Rose. See? Duncan, buddy, you got to trust the program, bud. Look at how many games you're playing. You're playing too much, not analyzing nothing. Not analyzing anything. All right, I'm going to be right back. ChessDojo Training Program was built around 3 principles. The first is that to improve at anything, you need a structure and a plan to follow, something you can trust. And so at the dojo, we have material, whether you're an absolute beginner or you're a grandmaster, we have the appropriate material to get you to the next level. The second principle is something that also can be used to learn anything, and that's called the principle of plus minus equal, that you need somebody above you, an equal, and somebody below you. And in terms of the dojo, what that means is above you, you will have the senseis and other higher rated players who will give you insight and critique maybe on your games. But at a deeper level, the program itself is the plus that you have to give some measure of authority to follow the program. Okay, we are back, my friends. Let's continue with the Jakester. Joined the dojo around the end of my first year of playing OTB. It has been great to have a structured program, and I have especially appreciated the endgame sparring experiences. I feel more confident than ever in various endgames, especially rook endgames. I'd love some feedback on my game against James Pollitt. While the game went relatively smoothly, I was a bit out of my element with the pawn structure out of the opening. My friends, let's just observe here, 201. That's a lot of points of work, my friend. And to get to this level, full applause. It is not so easy to be making our way up to this bad boy level over here. So congratulations to the Jakester. Okay, now in Kentucky. All right. Trying to develop some chess culture. All right. In a club now. First time reading a book. Jakester, how come I'm not following you, buddy? Okay. So, trying to go beyond just being a blitz addict. And look at this beautiful USCF thing he's got going on. You know, really made some good progress. Look at some massive tournament Jakester just won. Tactics rating, we got it. Oh yeah, so you can see these tactics tests are pretty clean here in terms of determining a player's level. It's all, within almost 100 points. Looks great. Looks really good. Okay. Will there be more Endgame Sensei? Oh, we got to get some Endgame Sensei going on. I got so many things to do. The dojo, my friends, we got so many projects now. Whew, so many projects going on. Okay. Clubs. Evening dojo. Activity. We're going to go back one. Boop. Boop. And there it is, my friends. 267 hours. In general, a point will take you about an hour plus. So that makes sense. And you can see Jake is somebody who's taking this very seriously, logging his time and the score. And dude is making the progress. And let me just say, he's not an ancient dude like me, but, he's 33 years old. It's hard to make progress. And so getting up to 1800, that's the 1819 cohort. That's really great. That's really strong. It is not easy. Especially now with all these Indian kids running around. I'm sure he's had to play a lot of those Indian kids, man. It's rough. It's not easy. Okay. So let's take a look. He said Pollitt, I believe. Let's check it out. Pollitt. So we'll mark this as reviewed. We'll take a look over here. So you can see, my friends, you get up the cohort ladder, people start using their time. So that's a great time graph. So closed event. All right, that was great. Time control 80-30. All right, here we go. White ops for the apocalypse attack. Okay. So, this isn't a real move. This isn't a real thing. You could do anything here. And I guess this is already, you had prepared this. I'm not afraid of bishop b5 at all. But anyways, a6, here we go. The apocalypse. Okay. A little weird. Okay, good. Bishop d6. Okay, so the thing to say about this position is that you are in a Carlsbad structure, and you have managed to get this bishop outside the structure. So for that reason, we think you should be okay. And white goes for it with f4. And you say, I was aware of this plan from reviewing the variation a couple of months ago. My understanding is that this is fine for white, but the engine wasn't terribly impressed. Okay, whole on e4, right. Okay. That this, by the way, is just, let's just say it's a very hot position. And it's not easy to judge at all. One thing we should say about f4 is that he needs to understand that he just blocked his bishop. And really, if we're going to believe in this, if this is going to work for white, this pawn needs to someday move, either here or get taken. Something needs to happen. Otherwise, it's not making sense. So here, here. Okay. And now you play rook c8. I'm not really convinced by knight df3 because he's just giving you e4 for free. One question I have is, what is rook c8 doing? I don't know, especially since next move you're about to play knight e7. Okay. So I think you have played fine principled chess up to here, and that rook c8 is the first move I'm not thrilled about. I just don't, it looks natural, but I don't know what you're doing with it. So what are some of our dreams? One dream is to pop this knight. And so variations like knight e4 should be considered. You could also consider, if you're worried about h6, g4, you could play h6 and then knight e4. And then just to say, Baus, if I ever hit you with f6, it's good night, Lucy. You know, you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing. Your knight e7 move that you do after rook c8 is something that you should be considering pronto too. And the idea there is that it'll be useful on a center square. You could even begin with, it looks a little weird to begin with that, but I'm sure you could. Okay, so here we go. Rook c8, mistake. Loss of time. Knight e7, I kind of like it. King h1. Does he know what he's doing? I don't know. Now, to be fair, I don't know what white's doing. I think knight df3 in particular, I was like, if you're going to play this f4 thing, you know, I think you're kind of all in. You're all in, Baus. You're all in. Now, could I evaluate this? I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult. I don't have a clear evaluation or anything. I'm just saying that after we do this, I'm not sure what white's supposed to do, right? So even though you lost a tempo here, it's not like I have huge advice for what white should do now. Okay, king h1 is bad in that it not only wastes a tempo, but it puts the king on an undesirable square. The king is further from the center, come in endgame, and it will now be within checking distance once the knight arrives on e4. Okay. Now you talk about some other moves. Do I think king h1 is substantially worse than king g1? No. And do I, kind of want bishop e3? I do. But, still, I don't know. Bishop e3 doesn't do much either, right? Okay. So, king h1. I'm going to flip it back. Let's see what you do. h6. While h6 is a nice move to play to control g5 and to open h7 for the bishop to retreat, it has two drawbacks. First, it creates a potential hook, right? Second, it weakens the g6 square, making the f6 push far less effective later on, as it would make g6 a major hole. I had determined that g4 was not a legitimate threat in the foreseeable future, and I was willing to forego the f6 option as it seemed manageable to play around the knight. I think h6 is a very ambitious move, and really I like it. One thing about the position is that because your bishop is outside the pawn chain, working with the defense of your king, the force count for you, the number of pieces around your king, is higher. And then we start saying, oh, I got all of these pieces involved in defense. This one isn't involved. These guys are kind of knocking each other's boots. And how does the queen get involved? I don't know. So, bishop d3. If he was going to do this, he should have done it before. Now, the advantage of this is that at least now this g6 square will be available to white. Now, you should strongly consider leaving the bishop on d3. Right? You should strongly consider leaving it. Imagine it's white's move. What is white going to do? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, your move is also fine. And now your opponent is just mucking about. Okay. Now, the big decision, though. You played f5. Probably okay, but that gives the e5 square to your opponent. So, one question would be, let's say, knight f2, queen c7. Is it fair to say that you are much better in this position? I would say yes. I would say yes. Game might continue knight e5, f6 here, rook over, probably where the bad boy wants to belong anyway. And you've got more pieces. He's got a terrible bishop. More pieces in front of your king. Yeah. Okay, so maybe you're better, though, in this position, too, with f5. I like your move, too. What's going to involve now, though, is dude is going to put a knight on e5, and we have to let it sit there. Not the most obvious move, but I was pleased with it when I found it. With my knight now secure on e4, I recognized that I was close to g5 being playable, in which case it would make good. Okay, if g5 ever appeared on the board. All right. So here's the thing, though, about rook c7. I'm not 100% with yet. Well, we're going to see. We're going to see where you end up putting your knight, right? That's the big question. Where's the knight going to go after this all goes down? So let's just see how your intention is. Taking. I don't like it. Okay, so actually, maybe I can maybe come around to it. Anyways, my first take on this position was that we would leave the knight on e5. He would come there and we would just leave it because the dude the problem that dude has is that the knight on f3 its only job is to take on back on e5. So, for example, you have a lot of nice moves here. One would be b5, intending a5, b4 with the minority attack. Makes a lot of sense, you know. And then what do we do with this knight? We just let it sit there. Just let it sit there. Fine, you can have it. So you took here, and it's a minor crime, I think, because now, after, let's say, de, isn't white's position now kind of playable, right? Because he's got bishop e3 and he's got this d4 square for his knight. So the last two moves, rook c7 was mysterious to me, and then this take was also a little bit mysterious. But this is incorrect, and now you go to kill the knight. And what you're looking to do is fully reasonable. Namely, you're looking to have good knight against bad bishop. You snip, d5, queen d7. Okay, interesting position. You like queen e8 better? Makes sense to me. It's an interesting position. I'm not sure who's better. You know, I'm not sure who's better. I don't know what he's doing. Good move. Good move. We could have done that ages ago. Rook h3. Bad move. Good move. Not sure what he's doing. Good. 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 So white played with superficial aims on the king side, and now the rook on h3 is misplaced, and you will break through on the queen side. Rook d4. It's probably okay. I'm a little wondering why we didn't play b4. Wait, yeah, why wouldn't we play b4? Looks great, right? And the reason I don't really want to take is when I take, I let this rook kind of do something. Maybe there's a reason I don't understand. Okay. Okay. You're definitely better here. Vicious. Vicious. Normal people would play taking the pawn. You're an angry man. Okay. Rook g1. Of course, the guy should play queen g3. Yeah, but your position is massive. Okay. Okay. Oh, you're going to say yes to that. We're going to say yes to that. Queen e3. That looks wonderful. That isn't it. Okay. I really like the finish. I think the finish was amazing. I also want everybody to see that they're playing over the board, right? And look, that was good time management by everybody involved. Yeah, so that was great. Yeah, and I think, first of all, great annotations. And those positions, are a little hard to learn. Hopefully I said some meaningful things about the position, right? And I think, I was talking about knight f2. It's fine, but your move, I've definitely come around to it. I didn't like, though, your intention later, right? Because you allowed this by taking and then allowed the activation of that bishop. See, because that's the fundamental problem that white has in this position, is that bishop is so terrible, terrible. All right. Okay. So, well done. Beautiful game. And pop. Now we're going to go to Bone Picker. Bone Picker is moving up to the 19,000. Really impressive to be up this high and graduating multiple times. Tactics have carried me here. I still don't think I have any understanding of middle game strategy except for consciously trying to avoid having any bad pieces or major pawn weaknesses. That's already something. Openings were my biggest weakness, but I have worked on them, and I can now avoid collapsing in the opening as frequently as I did before. By the way, when you get to this level, a lot of people think I don't believe you should study openings. You get to this level, there is a time, it's time to have a little bit of opening study. My opening repertoire is still full of holes, so I'll have to keep working on this, as it is probably still my biggest weakness along with middle game strategy. Tactics is the only area where I have a little bit of confidence. My endgame knowledge is also getting a bit rusty, and I'll need to start working on it again soon. The dojo will guide me. All right, Bone Picker, beautiful. So, here's Bone Picker. Life got in the way, I get it. This might have been the FIDE boost, but here we go, 1935, crushing it. Really nice. We need you to do them tests, buddy. Bone Picker, time to do them tests. Clubs aus Europa. Okay, so we'll back it up one. Look at the dude has really come up in the dojo over here. He's doing some tactics. He's doing some tactics. Okay. And hopefully we're getting some games too. Yes, sir. All right. So, I don't know. I'll pick this first one. This was played earlier and then analyzed yesterday, or submitted yesterday. We don't have the times. I'm including this game for entertainment value for Kraai in the graduate show, even though I haven't had a chance to study it with my coach yet. These annotations are most likely to have serious errors in them than the annotations I usually publish. Okay, so let's go. This is for our amusement. Okay, a little weird, okay. Here we go, modern chess, my friends. Here we go, okay. All right, A3, C6, E3. Okay. Queen A5, a little fancy. D5 would be a little normal. Good. Good. That doesn't look right. This surprised me. I'm still not sure what my opponent was hoping to achieve. If I recapture with the E pawn, then I do think my position becomes shaky. But I can recapture with the C pawn, maintaining a sturdy symmetrical pawn structure, and with the bonus that my light square bishop is no longer locked in. Okay, your bishop is locked in after C takes, and this is an interesting momentito. Now, yeah, I would like, ideally, to take with the E pawn. But what I'm not immediately certain of is if at some point dude plays knight d4 and messes with me with like the knight f5 and the c6 threat. I don't know though. The reason principally we would like to play this one is very simple. We would like this bad boy to be launched, right? And our intention, I believe, would be to play c5. If they take, they are activating our rook. So it's really interesting. I think you looked at this, but I got my rook b8 coming. So I just want to say this looks promising for black. Now, arguably, this is also promising, though. All right, so let's give this a chance. Why aren't we playing the bishop to d6? Looks a little bit more active, right? Knight d4. I don't understand it either. It looks like he's trying to be fancy to me. Okay, simple and strong. I guess that's what he wants. He's a fancy man. And now he's going to go for it. Do I believe this? No, I don't. But it's at least kind of interesting. I believe your move is good. I like it. Pop, pop. Okay, we got ourselves an interesting game. So even though I don't believe that white can get away with this, I do think this position could become potentially dangerous. It's a big move for white right now. White's the one who's got to prove something. You're about to play knight c4, or knight d6, one of those moves. Your moves are simpler to make. Let's see what he does. Queen e1. I now thought that I was doomed because of queen h4, rook f3, h3. I spent a long time looking at the e5 push as a way to control h3 to be played just before or after rook f3. I felt unable to calculate this, but it seemed that white did need at least 4 moves to mate me. Okay, so let's think about this. Is it hot? It's a little hot. Now, here's the weird thing. When we play knight c4, oh my God, what happened there? I didn't do that. When we play knight c4, we will be gaining white's good bishop, but that bishop at the moment isn't participating in the attack, right? So, I'll tell you what, I could spend hours analyzing this position. Let's give your knight c4 a chance. Pop, pop. And now queen g3. That wasn't it. So what you need to do, though, here is you need to analyze that queen h4 variation, right? So, yeah, let's just say, obviously, that's what you got to analyze here. And then you got to ask yourself, well, what now, brown cow? Are you mated or not? Yeah. So, for example, first of all, I believe you're okay. This is going to take a while for these pieces to be activated. This knight isn't working yet. And the simpleton answer here, or this for the first attempt for black, I think, is g6. With the intention that on rook f3 we play h5 and he's got nothing, and that on queen h6, we have bishop f8 and over, right? In the meantime, we'll also be doing this kind of thing. So I think you're okay, but you needed to convince yourself of that yourself, right? That makes no sense. I'm not sure I understand that move. Why aren't we playing knight d6? And plays rook ab1. I gotta wait. Let me flip this though. This knight c7 is making me a little nervous. Isn't this a problem? I'd be worried. That worries me. Okay, I'm not sure I get rook ab1. Okay. Okay, so what I can tell is you were obsessed, okay? This is what I thought ages ago. That you became obsessed in this position with winning the b pawn. But the b pawn, he ain't doing that much to us, you know? What we need is some way to get play. And secure our king. So first of all, we have to make sure that the f5s of the world don't work. And we need to make sure that our queen somehow gets some activity, right? So lots of moves to consider here. G6 looks weird because it looks like we're opening the bishop, and maybe it is a little suicidal, but the idea is simple. I want to just make sure that f5 doesn't happen, and I got knight g7 in addition to bishop f8 ideas. Knight d6 also looks like a very plausible move here, and that would be the first thing that I would want to contend with, but not to take the pawn. See, imagine you take the pawn, you free the bishop open, and everything gets kind of hectic. Okay, here we go. Rook ab1. I'm not sure what white's doing, by the way. And now you snip. Okay. I'm not sure I get it. Right, because your weak point is fully covered on f7. That's not doing nothing. And notice what he did. When he allowed this exchange, he killed his bishop. That was the whole dream. Dream over, my friend. Not sure I get it. There's a dirty trick, actually. Queen d8. All right, he plays queen h5, but I got a question. What? Doesn't he want to do that? And then you can give him a check, but then what? He should at least do this. Even if, I mean, maybe he's lost here. I don't know. But there's things to talk about in this position here for white. Okay. I think both players might have missed it. This doesn't make any sense. Okay. It's hard to mate you because his minors are out to lunch over there. Okay. Looks like he's dreaming. There we go. We're out. We're just winning this thing. Bam. Oh, nice move. Very nice. Okay. So here he offers you a draw. Give me a break. Give me a break. So Bone Picker, dude, good game. I think one of the things to say about it is when you start playing stronger players, they aren't going to muddle their pieces so much as this guy did. And you need to be like tactics players. I think what happened was like you were just singularly obsessed with winning the pawn, and I was worried you might have given him some chances while doing so. But otherwise, that was a great game and really good annotations. Hopefully I said some things that were mildly helpful. So, all right. Next up, we have kind pawn. Kind pawn. So give kind pawn a follow. Joined us in June of last year. So a year now. 1921, looking great. Tactics Ray Baus, give us a tactics. Give us some tactics. And let's go games. Wait, first blood. Clubs. Indiana, that's where we are. The home of Billy Collius back in the day. All right. So 1819. Looking good. Okay. Probably we need some games over here. Middle games of strategy. A book. But otherwise looks good. Games. So this is Josh Smith. And let's go here. Mark review. Pop. We don't have the times. It looks probably like an OTB. Takes an extra level of effort to do an OTB to write the moves in. All right, E3 is the standard move. Let me just share. There's a fun move here. E4, boom. I don't really approve of this bishop F4 as the move for white, but E4 really takes it up a notch. Play here and here. Okay, so E3. Fine. Fine. Okay. 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 I feel like I came under quite a bit of pressure after this move and missed how strong white's next move is. Oh, excuse me, you're black, right? Yeah. This is a famous position, and you played, I think, the best move, bishop e7, e5, and now there's deep theory here with knight h5. Okay. When you play knight d7, though, it's important to see that your position has devolved into a bad French. Maybe not a lost French, but a bad French. Okay. So, by the way, let me just share. Oh, is this going to get hot? Yo, it's going to get hot. All right, Kraai, how does it go? It goes. How does it go, Kraai? It goes knight g5, bishop takes, queen takes, g6, queen e2, cd4, h4, and white has compensation for his pawn. Bishop h6, bishop e7, bishop d2, all these moves have been played in practice. Now, that isn't, well, at this level, right, b6, your move is fine, but you need to have a sense of what to do against this setup. It's very common at your level, anybody's level, honestly. Right? Okay, and it's important to understand then strategically that this is a poor position for you. h4, exclam, he's threatening bishop h7 now. f5, I think that's your best move. ef, and now knight f6. Makes some sense. Unfortunately for us on gf, which we should consider, queen e2, well, maybe we could get away with gf. All right, so the intention of gf is to say that we are controlling these squares, the blockade squares. And furthermore, we're making a claim that on queen e2, we're not losing tactically to queen e6 because of knight e5. Pretty spicy, right? Okay. And so if we can achieve this position, I would say white is probably still to be preferred here, but you can see the value of the f6 pawn. It's going to be much harder to mate us, and he's not going to get the traditional blockade stuff on us over here. Once he gets the blockade stuff, both of these minors are going to move through this square, and this knight is going to move through this one. F5, EF6, GF6. So if I'm white here, I very much believe in my position, but I honestly don't know how to play it. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. It's not super easy for me to figure out. Okay, this position, though, I would just be like, oh, okay, I know about this one. I know this one. All right, so Queen E2, Bishop D6. I'm going to say that white should play Knight E5 first. Because on Queen E2, he does give you the... Oh, he doesn't. Actually, he doesn't. I was thinking he gave you this option. But wait, we have to check. Here, here, here. I think he does give you this isn't going to work because we got Queen H5, Bishop H6, and on HG we live. I think we live. Is it a little hot? Yes, a little hot, but I think we are living through that. So simpler for white would have been Knight E5, right? With a huge advantage. Now there's no Knight H5. My other knight can swing through. Queen E2, a little too simplistic. Now, like I said, there's a question of Knight H5. It looks like you can play. And now, again, he is much better. And notice what happened. You noted it. White has his ideal setup. Probably can't allow this as black. Okay? So you had a couple chances. You had GF6 and you had Knight H5. Now, it looks terrible. But an interesting question is, how bad is it? You know, it's not completely hopeless. At some point, you can play Knight H5. And white has his own king safety issues. CD4. Yeah. So you talk about all kinds of different moves. Notice that white isn't threatening to end your life in any immediate fashion, right? So you have a variety of ways to play the position where it will not be like ultra simple for him to knock you out. C4, B5, you know, that kind of thing. Now Knight H5 probably loses to Bishop H7, but I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. This has to be checked as well. Oh, you looked at Knight G5. That looks dangerous. Okay, it does look dangerous. However, we can play Can we play G6? I don't know. Oh, it's full heat here. Because see, if he goes Knight H7, we're going to take this bad boy. We're always going to be taking that bad boy. And by the way, Knight H5 is definitely the move we want to play to break his, I was going to say to break his spell. To break his spell. Let's continue. Bishop H7, check to the miserable king. King H6. Knight G4. Am I worried? Yes, I'm worried. Yes, I'm worried. King G6. Well, this Queen D3. I'll stop the analysis there. You can see, though, it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful for black. All right, now you gave up, I can tell. No annotations. A little weird to put it on B7. I don't know if I'm convinced by that. And then you gave him the dark squares. Why'd you do that? Hold on, bud. It's not over yet. Knight g5? I'm not convinced with knight g5. Wait. You're in full despair mode. You're in full despair mode. Your opponent hasn't proved us anything yet. Take this thing. What are we doing? Also, are you knight g5? Or is he even threatening anything? Does he really want to play knight takes e4? No, he does not. Oh, no. h6? So now, yeah, look what you did. You gave him ye old resigns here. Oh, now he's not playing either. Okay, so what I want you to see, this is maybe the most important lesson, Mr. Smith. Okay, beyond all that positional stuff I said, yes, you had a bad position, but a key thing, and I can tell you, when I'm playing a strong GM and I get a nice position, it sometimes happens. Will they fight like hell? Will they resign mentally and just kind of collapse? No. No. But you collapsed. Bishop takes e5. Oh, no. Oh, no. What have we done? What have we done? This is the time graph, but this is an over-the-board game, so he didn't enter it. It would be good to enter it. Mr. Smith, I'm hoping to see you back again. Kind pawn. Yeah, you're doing great. So, oh, kind pawn is here. Yeah, nice. All right, my friends, we have one more, and this is Phoenix. This program has been really great. I'm new to the dojo, but it's been very helpful. Annotating games is a relatively new experience and something that I need to work on, but the process has been really helpful. It has been great for me to attempt to flush out ideas and improve on variations. Thank you, kind pawn. Let's follow Phoenix. And let's get a tactics rating, Phoenix. Let's go. Let's go. Clubs, no. Activity, probably not logging all their time. But they're new. They're new to the dojo. And we got a bunch. Let's just pick up, well, let's just do the first one. A practice game that I played OTB to be used for the purpose of the Dojo Training Program and review. Okay, great. So we'll mark it as reviewed. We'll go over here. Oh, the clock time isn't in there. So anyway, something, you know, when you do the clock, when you do OTB, you got to enter it manually. A little weird. Okay. Okay, there's nothing wrong with C4. Definitely weird. Fine. Definitely strange. Fine. C6. They are moving a lot of pawns. Now, they could do ye old hippo and play this kind of thing, you know. But C6, I don't comprende that. Fine. 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 Okay, castles. E5. Looks good. Dang. This is probably okay, but I missed a potential resource by black until after I played the move. I definitely moved too quickly here instead of taking time to figure out the best continuation. Now, I will say, in a position like this, it's very easy to be provoked, right? And what I mean by that is, like, the guy has played some very sus moves, as the kids say. And so it's, you know, it's easy to just feel like, oh, I'm playing, what an idiot I'm playing here. Why do I have to play this idiot? And you're like, bishop h6 has got to win. That is the correct punishment for this fool. We've been there, right? We've been there. Tosh Queen, thank you for rating us. We are doing the Dojo Training Program, and we are looking at a game by someone who has gone up to the 1900-2000 cohort, which is about, I don't know, 2100, 2200 chess.com. All right. So, bishop h6, it looks promising. And you talk now about de5. Yeah. Now, if that's their best, though, then we have to say bishop h6 is a fine move. Gh, pop, f5. Okay, now it gets interesting. You play ef6. Okay. Let's look at this. Now, I want to stress that this ef6 might win, but queen that takes e6 looks very hard to deal with. Yield queen e6. Looks like you're winning a lot of pawns. All right, rook f7. That's just resigning the game. Now, let's just say the bummer about this game, Phoenix, is that you're playing a chump. You're playing a chump. What are they doing? All right, knight df6. Let's look at your analysis. Knight g5. Knight takes. Okay, is that forced? I believe so. Okay. Wait, why are we done here, though? Why are we done here? It's not clear to me that you're crushing this fool. So, yeah, we're not done yet. In terms of the analysis, I'm not sure this is over. I'm not sure about this ef6 move. So even though you're playing a chump here, let's just say that this is an important variation for you to analyze afterwards. So for example, on h4, I see two moves for black. One, if I'm concerned about rook h3, I can play e5. And I might also begin with queen e8. But like, for example, maybe queen e8 loses on the spot to this, right? And if it does, then I want to consider e5 first. And then, but the reason I showed queen e8 is we can see then what black's intention is. Black wants to play queen e8 to fix his business. And yeah, we aren't necessarily winning this bad boy. This isn't over, right? Let me check something, though. Are we winning after knight e4? That looks that looks hard to deal with, right? That one looks hard to deal with. So that does look winning. I'm not seeing anything for the guy here. Yeah. Okay, my friends, that was great.